Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 159 of Cameron Sports Podcast. It's your Cameron Lindsay back with another brand new episode. Today's episode, going to be talking about 2026 NFL free agency. Like I said, got a few topics. Of course, what are the biggest signings so far in free agency? Who has won free agency and who has lost free agency? What teams? So let's get right into it. First topic, I'm gonna start off with what are the biggest signings of free agency, since it started. One of the biggest, obviously, is running back Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP with the Seattle Seahawks. He was scheduled to be a free agent. It was wondering whether the Seahawks were going to pay him, franchise tag him, or let him walk. And they decided not to franchise tag him. They was not going to sign him. And he ended up testing free agency and signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. I was like, as a Chargers fan, I'm like, dang, man. Like, you cannot give Patrick Mahomes a running game. You give him a running game, now he's even more dangerous. He can play action. He's going. Part of me was a little frustrated because I'm like, bruh, out of all the teams, the Kansas City Chiefs, but they did need a running back. They had a horrible year running the football, so. It makes sense. I thought maybe they probably would go in the draft and get somebody like Jeremiah Love. But now they don't have to do that because, you got Kenneth Walker, an established running back, still young, like I said, Super Bowl MVP. They got another first-round pick from the Rams for trading Trent McDuffie. So, now the Chiefs are looking really dangerous now. They're going to have Travis Kelce back. Now they're going to have a really good running game, possibly with Kenneth Walker. So we will see about that. But I think that was, even though I'm a Chargers fan, I think that was a really, really big signing with the Chiefs. Like I said, they struggled to run the football with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. So I think this is a great signing by the Chiefs. I get it A plus signing for the Chiefs. Arguably the best free agency signing, center Tyler Linderbaum signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I was a little mad because I wanted my Chargers to get him, really help the interior of our offensive line. Like I said, our starting center retired. Now, even if he wouldn't have retired, I think we would have replaced him because that offensive line was horrible. Granted, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt are two Pro Bowl, all-level pro tackles. Both got injured. One before the season started, and Rashawn Slater, and Joe Alt was banged up, and then he finally went down with injury in the game against the Tennessee Titans on the road. So that, I'm just like, granted, yes, getting some skill position guys would be nice, but I want to protect Justin Herbert. As a Chargers fan, not saying this as a journalist, I'm saying this as a Chargers fan, I feel confident. I feel like we could beat any team in the league as long as we can protect Herbert and give him a chance to throw the football. If we have a chance to run the football, if we give him protection, we have a chance. And I'm thinking okay, now it could be hard because Linderbaum is going to demand a lot of money and teams going to be vying for him. But we got almost $100 million, and this before free agency began. almost $100 million in cap, to spend, in free agency. I'm like, okay, so we got a chance to get him. And they didn't do that. They went for another guy who got cut by the Washington Commanders. I'll get into that a little bit later in my last topic. But for the Raiders, even though, again, this is another team in the AFC West, rivals to my Chargers, this is a really good signing for them because obviously they got the first overall pick, and we all know they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana with the first overall pick, which I think they should. Definitely need a quarterback, and having a young quarterback, one thing that helps them is having a real constructed offensive line that can really help a good young quarterback, and they already getting the offensive line right. I think on paper the Raiders are already better. I'm getting more into them in my second topic, but I love this signing for them, even though I wish my Chargers would have got Linderbaum. Third biggest signing, well, not in order, but next signing, defensive end Trey Henderson signing with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, obviously, if you've been paying attention to the free agent signing going on, one of the wildest things that happened is first the Ravens traded for Max Crosby, and I'm like, okay, like that's a really great move. Granted, they had to give up 2 first-round picks, one in this year and another next year, but that's a great move that can help that defensive line, help that defense. But next thing I know, the Ravens backed out of the trade because of his injury, which I think they should already known. He did have surgery once the season had ended, but that's a different story. But after that, they went for the next big option, which is Trey Henderson, who's one of the best pass rushers in the league, definitely top 10 pass rusher. Now, he had a down year this past season, only 4 sacks, but that was due to injury. But before that, he had back-to-back 16, 17 sacks in a season. Balled out, and I think it's a great signing for Baltimore. That's going to for sure have that defensive line. Next up, quarterback Malik Willis signing with the Miami Dolphins. Now, Malik Willis will arguably the number 1 free agency player available, according to NFLnetwork.com. Now, like I said, granted, the Dolphins are tanking, but, this gives Malik Willis a chance to be the guy. In Tennessee, he didn't really have that chance. He went to Green Bay, looked good for a couple games. So I think, it's a decent, good signing for the Dolphins. Moving off of Tua, and let's see if you can have somebody in Malik Willis. But I'll get into the Dolphins a little bit more in my next topic. Next to my last topic. Next up, another quarterback, Kyler Murray, who got cut by the Arizona Cardinals, signed with the Minnesota Vikings. I think this could be a great signing. Now, of course, they got J.J. McCarthy. They're going to be competing for the starting quarterback job. I think Kyler Murray is going to win it. I think he's, like I said, he's a far established quarterback, older. He's still young. JJ, we just don't know. And I feel like with someone like Kyler, his athleticism, the way he can, throw the ball, move on the run, he's gonna be able to get Justin Jefferson the football, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson. He got weapons on that offense, so I think that's gonna be with Kyler Murray. That's gonna really help that team. They won 9 games with a dysfunctional quarterback system with JJ and Carson Wentz. So imagine with Kyler Murray as a starting quarterback, if he can stay healthy, have a good year like Sam Darnold did a few years ago, there's no doubt about it. Kyler Murray can be the franchise guy for the Minnesota Vikings. And lastly, this is probably arguably the best move in free agency. The Rams trading for Trent McDuffie, all-pro corner from the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, granted, it shocked me, but the more I think about it, the Chiefs, they really do not like to play cornerbacks. Ladarius Sneed a few years ago, they traded him to Tennessee, so, and now Trent McDuffie to the Rams, so they really don't like to, they like to replace, so it's like pretty much, they don't really value it that much, like, okay, dang, such and such is up for a big contract, do we really want to pay him, or do we want to address other needs? So, I think they're just gonna try to draft. I think with them getting Kenneth Walker, getting having 2 first-round picks in this year's draft, I think they're gonna go D-line and corner. So I can see the Chiefs get drafting a corner that's gonna probably replace Trent McDuffie and develop him in Spagnuolo's defense, and I think that they'll probably be pretty much just fine right there. So, but those are some of my big free agency signings that has happened right now. Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, Tyler Lindenbaugh, center, to the Raiders, Trey Henderson to the Baltimore Ravens, Malik Willis to the Dolphins, Kyler Murray to the Vikings, and Trent McDuffie getting traded from Kansas City to the Rams. So, but let me know what you think. What are your biggest free agency signings? Or any of the ones I mentioned, or anyone I haven't mentioned, let me know in the comments below. Next topic is who has won free agency so far? What are the teams? And I got a list of 5 teams, and I'm gonna start from 5 to 1. 5. Some people may not agree, but I think the Jets. The Jets are the Jets. They've been a mess, but they traded for Geno Smith, and Geno's not a bad quarterback. He had a bad year for the Raiders. He was in a bad situation. Pete Carroll's old. That Raiders offensive line was horrible. They really have no weapons at all besides Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. They traded their best receiver, Jacoby Myers, to Jacksonville. So that whole situation was a mess with the Raiders. And I think, Geno going to the Jets, I think that's a decent, solid pickup. Now, granted, I'm not going to say he's going to be the guy next year, but for now, this is a solid pickup for they could somewhat can compete right now. Somewhat. Also, they traded for Micah Fitzpatrick from the Dolphins. Micah is one of the best safeties in the league. Granted, he ain't the best, a little bit older, but that's a decent, solid move, I think. They also signed linebacker Demario Davis. Granted, I know he's an older linebacker, but he's still a veteran. He's a leader, bringing experience on that defense. He's going to play hard. So I think that's a solid move for the Jets. I ain't going to say playoffs. I know some people, from Pick Aside Podcast and them saying the Jets can make the playoffs. I'm not going to go that far. I think they can be competitive, like give you a little bit run for your money. But playoffs, I really do not know. The AFC is just too loaded to automatically just say playoffs. I can't say that. Number 4, the Minnesota Vikings signing Kyler Murray. I think that the quarterback position is the missing piece. Like the Vikings got a good defense. They got weapons on offense. It's literally just the quarterback position that's keeping them from competing. They won 9 games with a horrible quarterback situation. So imagine if they would have had Kyler Murray last year, they probably would have made the playoffs. Just maybe. So I think the Vikings did a really good job with that signing right there and getting Kyler Murray. Number 3, I got the Kansas City Chiefs signing Kenneth Walker. It hates me, but I got to give them credit. And the reason I hate it is because, the Chiefs just had a down year. Why would you want them to get right back to potentially getting a dynasty? If that running game lives up to what it could be, we're in trouble. And because now you're gonna have to worry about stacking the box, one-on-one with Travis Kelce, one-on-one with their deep threats, Xavier Worthy, or what if they get Tyreek Hill back? Then we really got something to worry about. So yeah, but I gotta give it to them. I think that's a really good signing by the Chiefs. I say number 3. Number 2. Another AFC team, again, the Raiders, signing center Tyler Lindenball. They signed wide receiver Jalen Naylor from the Vikings. They signed Quay Walker, linebacker from the Packers. They signed Terrion Johnson, a nickel DB from the Buffalo Bills. And they signed Nakobe Dean from the Eagles, linebacker. The Raiders have had a lot of money in cap space, and they use it well. And to top that, they get Max Crosby back. So if Matt Crosby stays on the Raiders gonna look pretty good on paper. Now, granted, I'm not gonna say like they're gonna make the playoffs, but I think they could be better than they were, especially led by new head coach Clint Kubiak. They could be a dangerous team that we gonna have to take seriously. My Chargers definitely have to take them seriously. If Fernando Mendoza plays up to potentially his potential, Brock Bowers gets back to being Brock Bowers. Ashton Genty takes a leap and gets from his rookie year to now, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Better look out for the Raiders. Got to take them more seriously if that happens. But I really like what they did as a team. I even like what they did more than my Chargers, to be honest. So I know one thing. My dad, he's a Raiders fan. Shout out to him, Michael Gavin. I know he probably happy a little bit. Because they got the number overall pick. If they're going to draft Mendoza, you got a really good head coach in a potential good head coach in Clint Kubiak, because he's a really good offensive minded, and he has the potential to be a really good coach with the Raiders. So that's number 2. Number 1 is the Los Angeles Rams, because that trade with Trent McDuffie, they got Trent McDuffie, and they got I think Charlie Ward, I forgot his name, another corner for Kansas City. They really upgraded that defensive back room, and with the Rams did, to the point where now I think they potentially are the favorites to come out the NFC. If Matthew Stafford he don't have to have the exact year he had, but if he gives them a year, let's say, if he can give them 3,800 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, passes, maybe keep it down to maybe about 10 interceptions, the Rams are going to be dangerous. they're gonna be dangerous. You got Tyler Higbee. You got arguably the best receiving duo in the league right now, Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. You got Jared Verse, Brandon Fisk on that defensive line. Now you got Trent McDuffie in that secondary. Man, ooh, watch out. I think the Rams should be the favorite. I know the Seahawks, but the Seahawks did lose a couple key pieces like Tyreek Woolen, Kobe Bryant. So, and they lost Kenneth Walker on offense and Clint Kubiak as offense coordinator. So, I think the Rams have won free agency right so far, and probably overall the team I think has won free agency. Now, last topic, the teams who have lost free agency, and it's them of, like I said, 5-1. I wrote down 5 teams, and the first team is, I hate to say it, I ain't gonna say completely lost free agency, but just hasn't really impressed me to the point where I'm like, yeah, I really love what my team is doing. It's my Los Angeles Chargers. We have signed center Tyler Biasba. He was cut by the Commanders, and we signed him. I just think that I would have preferred Tyler Lindenbaugh. Like, this is a year. We're going into Jim Harbaugh's 3rd year. We won 11 games the first year, 11 games second year, and both lost in the wild card rounds in humiliating fashions. That game against the Patriots was so bad. I understand. I can't even make excuses. I understand that offensive line was terrible, but that was horrible. And like, I was just speechless. Like, oh my, what is going on? And I'm like, okay, if we really want to take that next step, we're getting both our tackles back. Okay, cool. Let's get that. Let's sign Lindenbaugh. Let's maybe go in the draft and draft one of the top guards. Maybe get one of the top guards if possible. Plug that in, and now our offensive line is looking really good. No, they didn't do that. Now, we also signed Khalil Mack back. I actually like that one. I like Khalil having back. I know he's older, but he is going to be productive. He can give, as long as he gives us at least 5-6 sacks when it matters most, I'm fine. That's what he did. Khalil is going to ball. I think Jim Harbaugh really brought him back to be a leader. He knows he's going to play hard. He knows he's going to be fierce. I have no problem with that. I love bringing him back on a 1-year deal. Fullback, also signed fullback Alex Ingold, former Miami Dolphin, who's in Miami with our now offensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. I mean, it's okay, I guess, because the fullback we did use, he did drop a lot of passes. He's technically a defensive lineman, so maybe now they want an actual player that actually plays the position of fullback, to where, okay, we need to throw a short pass to the fullback and get a first down or get yards after catch. So I guess that's okay. I'm okay with a little bit. We also signed tight end Charlie Kohler from Baltimore. He seems like a solid player. He could block, but I probably would have preferred to try to go after a Kyle Pitts or something, or maybe, I don't know, try going to draft, and maybe if we can't get a guard, if we can't go offensive line, I wouldn't mind them going to Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. I wouldn't mind that, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now with this move. Also, we signed guard Cole Strange from Miami, with Mike McDonald. I don't know if he's going to start. It looks like he could be a backup, but I don't know too much about him, and that's why I'm like, why are they signing these guys that kind of are maybe the backups, or I don't know, like, don't just sign guys to sign guys. We have a franchise guy who's young. He's 28 years old, a little bit younger than me. Like, why? Don't just sign anybody. I would hate for them to waste Justin Herbert's prime. Like, he took a beating. Every time I watch my Chargers on TV, he took a beating. That game against Houston Texans, where if we would have won that, we would have had a chance to beat Denver and win the AFC West. Literally every snap, running for his life in his face. The only game I know he didn't have to really run was against Dallas, and Dallas Cowboys defense is so bad. Like, it makes sense why he had time. It's like their defensive line and defense was way worse than our offensive line. So, and we also signed Keaton Mitchell, running back from Baltimore. Speedy back. That I seen it, a little bit of his highlights, and that's cool and all. But it's like, what good is it if we can't run the ball inside? Because like I said, our interior offensive line was horrible last year. So if they don't look any better this year, it's really not going to matter. It's like with him and Amari Hampton, it's really not going to matter if we can't run the ball. Then it's like, what good was signing that? And like I said, we re-signed linebacker Denzel Perryman. I don't have no problem with that. So mainly, I don't have a problem with Khalil Mack and Denzel Perryman. Alex Engel, it's okay, but mainly Khalil Mack and Denzel Perryman, I'm fine with. Number 4. Now, I was going to change this, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep my notes the same. Number 4, I got the Denver Broncos. This was mainly before they traded for Jalen Waddle. But, I think that's a really good signing. But really, I feel like they could do a little bit more. Maybe get a running game. They signed J.K. Dobbins back, but it's like, can he really stay healthy? When he was with my Chargers, he gave us some good production, but he was mainly hurt. So it's like, if he can't stay healthy, what good is that? I feel like I don't know if they tried to get Kenneth Walker or they tried to trade for Breece Hall. So I got them number 4. Number 3, the Indianapolis Colts. They signed Daniel Jones to about a $100 million contract. And they signed Alex Pierce. They traded Michael Pittman. But other than that, they have not done anything. So I just think that's kind of iffy to give Daniel Jones a $100 million contract coming off an injury. I would have franchise tagged him and say, okay, cool. You was playing mostly well when you was healthy. Can you do that again? Let's see if you do it again. Because what happened last time when Daniel Jones played well one season, he got a contract in the offseason, and then the very next year, he fell down flat on his face. So Alex Pierce, I don't know if I would have chosen him over Michael Pittman, to be honest. He's a good receiver. But yeah, that one is a question for me. I wonder if they're going to try to go receiver in the draft, maybe. Like I said, last year they drafted Tyler Warren from Penn State, so that was a good pick right there. So we'll see. But the Colts haven't had a good free agency so far. Number 2, and I like this team. I used to be a fan of them. Kind of still am, but I got the Philadelphia Eagles. The only really good signing is Tyreek Woolen. They lost the Kobe Dean in free agency. They lost one of their starting safeties in free agency. So they lost a pretty good amount of players in free agency, the Eagles have. And like I said, even a receiver, Jahad Dotson, they lost in free agency. So, and now it's potential, we're wondering all offseason, even, are the Eagles going to trade A.J. Brown? I feel like this. Either one, they either trade him before the training camp, or 2, they trade him during the season at the deadline. So if the offensive coordinator position doesn't get any better, I can see them trading him by the deadline. But other than that, really the Eagles have really not did anything besides signing Tyreek Woolen. I like that move. I like him and Quinyon Mitchell, mixed with some Cooper DeJean. So that's a pretty solid move. But other than that, I got the Eagles too. I don't think their free agency has gone all that well. And I like Howie Long, but we'll see. Now, the number 1 team that has lost free agency, now it's not necessarily because they haven't tried. It's just that they're tanking, so they're really not trying to do anything. The Miami Dolphins. I think they are vying for the number 1. I think the Dolphins are arguably probably going to be the worst team in football next year. No joke. It's either them or Cleveland. Them, and I hope not Cleveland, because I want Shador to thrive if he gets a chance to start for the Browns. But it might be the Dolphins, because this is so bad. Everybody's going to trade Jalen Waddle. They released Tua. They released Tyreek Hill. The only person they still got is Devon Achane. And if I was him, I don't want him to know if I want to be there. They might as well trade him too. Because if you're trying to tank, and it's like, to be honest, it's like, it makes me think, what was the whole point of signing Malik Willis? Because you're not putting him in the best situation. Offensive line is bad. You have no weapons. I can only name one receiver in that wide receiver room in Miami, and that's Tutu Atwell. Other than that, I can't. I saw a picture of the wide receiver room. I'm like, who are these guys? And yeah, it's bad. If I'm a fan, the only way I'll go to a game if them tickets are on sale. They are gonna be so bad that I think them tickets gonna be really cheap during the season. And Miami is not a city that is cheap, but them tickets, them tickets to them games probably gonna be. But yeah, I think the Dolphins have been the worst team in free agency. Like I said, granted, because they're tanking, so we'll see. But those today episode about 2026 NFL free agency frenzy. Like I said, let me know what you think of today's topics. Like I said, the biggest free agency signings during free agency. Who has won free agency? Who has lost? Like I said, I think the Rams have won free agency personally with that trade with Trent McDuffie, making them the favorite to win the NFC and get to the Super Bowl. The team I think that has lost free agency, like I said, the Miami Dolphins, because they're tanking. It's like the Rams and the Dolphins are two different teams, AFC and NFC. I mean, we know that, but like they got two different directions. The Dolphins are trying to rebuild. They hired a new coach. They got rid of Tua. They got rid of Tyreek Hill. They traded Jalen Waddle. They traded Micah Fitzpatrick. They let go of Bradley Chubb. So a lot of players are gone. They basically clean house. The Rams are trying to take advantage of right now. Matthew Stafford announced at the NFL awards during the Super Bowl weekend that he's coming back. So they are trying to win right now. This trade for Trent McDuffie is trying to win right now. Them giving away that first round pick, knowing the Rams, seeing the Rams how they do the last couple of years, they don't care about first round picks. They want to win Super Bowls. Anything that can help them win right now, they're gonna do that. So that's exactly why I got them as the number one team. I think right now they are the favorites to come out the NFC. So, but that's today's episode. If you want to touch down with Cam, please hit that like, subscribe button. Let's continue to grow. Let's continue to strive. It's gonna be a good 2026. More stuff to come. Like I said, I can't wait to be in my guest room. I can film in there and make it a better atmosphere for y'all to enjoy the show with me, as I love doing what I love to do. But I'll catch y'all next time for another episode of the Cameron Sports Podcast. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.